right, what's up, everyone? It's another week. We're the Bates International Group. I'm Ebony.
What's going on, folks? Mohammed here.
Hey, it's Marty.
All right. Well, I'll start us off and then hand it over. We've had a lot of questions coming across our desk, just inquiring about Baltimore as far as an investment. There's some folks who are getting beat out in a lot of markets across the DMV. And some folks are interested in pushing out to Baltimore. So, we were having a dialogue amongst ourselves and decided to, kind of have some transparency and just kind of have the conversation about Baltimore as an investment and whether it makes sense and what our opinions are, because they're kind of different. So I'll let you guys say, what your thoughts are.
No, absolutely. I think a couple of things to keep in mind with regard to Baltimore. It's a great city, a lot of rich history and culture, a lot of opportunities, and it's good proximity to DC. So there are folks who live in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, work in DC, and in the surrounding areas. So it's a great location. One of the things to keep in mind is that the price points in Baltimore City and the county are significantly lower than they are, say, for example, in DC. So the median sales price right now, based on close of Q3 numbers, is 194,500. Might as well round that up to 195, and the average sales price is about 221,000. So for the investors who have been, really tapping us on the shoulder and say what's going on with Baltimore, there are a couple of things that you have to keep in mind as far as the competition in Baltimore is concerned. Their monthly supply inventory number is 2.4. So Baltimore is pretty close to being a balanced market. Once you hit 3, you're at a balanced market. Baltimore's at 2.4, so it's less competition. Also, the average days on market in Baltimore is about 60. So properties staying on the market about 2 months. That's a big improvement over last year. I know when we were doing work in Baltimore last year, days on market was closer to 90. Now we're closer to 60, which is good. One of the things to keep in mind from an investing standpoint, if you're looking to go into the Baltimore city area, is the price point. With a median sales price of 194, 195, and an average sales price of 220, 221, you really have to source the properties out really well to see what your investment cost is going to be versus what your after rehab value is going to be. And you want to look at, for example, your buy-in. Can you afford to do a gut rehab and get the property back on the market and make a profit? If you're looking at price points in the high 100s to low $200,000 range, you'd have to get properties at 30, 40, 50,000 or less, and be in a position to not invest more than $100,000 into that property if you want to turn a profit. So those are things to definitely keep in mind. And then also, given where we are from a market standpoint in demand, you have rental opportunities. So creating affordable rental housing is definitely a potential possibility for you as an investor. So you can go in and buy several row houses, redevelop them, and be able to rent those out to families. There's always a high demand for 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom family units that can accommodate 4 or 5 or 6 member families. So that's something to keep in mind. So it really depends on what direction you want to go into and where you find the most value. The one thing that I will say is, based on the numbers, Baltimore is more of a long-term versus a short-term investment opportunity for you. So if that's something that you find appealing, then I would say Baltimore is definitely an option. If you're looking to turn over really quickly, do a couple of quick flips and move on, Baltimore might not yield you what you need to sustain your business. But again, we're here as a resource for you, and we can analyze individual properties, we can analyze individual neighborhoods, and really work with you to identify what's going to be the best outcome for your business. But those are kind of the facts where we see them, or at least where I see them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it depends on your strategy as an investor. I think multi-unit buy and hold, may be a good strategy as you do your research in Baltimore. And I think it's really going to depend on the neighborhoods, your neighborhood research, and what neighborhoods are those up and coming neighborhoods that you can really find a good deal, where you can find a 4-unit or 3-unit or 2-unit building that you can gut and then play the long game. And then expanding on top of that, and building your portfolio to whereas you have 8 multi-unit buildings, and then you're really working at that point. So, again, what Muhammad says, kind of rings true. The margins may not be there for flips, but if you're doing a volume of flips, and then you can get your cost down at a minimum, there may be some opportunity there. But again, you have to look and see where the market is and if it supports, those sales. So in my point of view, I think the buy and hold strategy, may be the best play as we talk about Baltimore.
Yeah, I think I think it's a great point, Marty, and great points, Muhammad, as well. Looking at the statistics, 52%, let's say 53, it's like 52.7% of folks in Baltimore are renters. So that's a really high percentage. I don't know where that falls in the nation, but I would say that's probably pretty high. So the
Definitely high.
yeah. So the
It's
buy
like
and
New
hold.
York. New York is 65% or more renters.
Yeah, those extremely high numbers. So Baltimore is starting to move up, though, as far as being on the radar as a place for investment. It's definitely people are making money there. And to your point, Marty, the numbers might not be there, but let me just assure you that in some cases they absolutely are on the flips. There are people who are flipping properties in Baltimore. We're working with them and they're making money. There's a strategy for it, though. You just have to know how to lower your cost of development. But there are absolutely properties that are $30,000-$40,000 that don't need an incredible amount of work whenever you can find them. So let us know. We'll help you get your searches together. But consider the buy and hold in Baltimore. 52% of the population is your target, which is a pretty big target. So yeah.
Well, as always, we appreciate your time and thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out to us, info at the Bates International Group, and you can find us on all social media platforms at the Bates International Group. We're here to not just educate, but to support you through the real estate development process, whether that's buying, selling, or building. So that's what we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to connecting with you next week. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you.